Right, welcome to Twisted Locker, your definitive horror podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the greatest remakes of all time. This should be a hard one. What have you got for me, Jags?
Okay, so first up, it's a remake of a foreign movie. It's by the brilliant Gore Verbinski, and it's The Ring. I absolutely adore this film. Even though the original is awesome, and you could argue that when you remake a foreign film, it's not quite the same as a normal remake because you're just trying to deliver it to a different audience that wouldn't maybe watch subtitles. But I think it's better, just marginally better than the original. I can't believe this guy went on to make Pirates of the Caribbean, which I cannot stand.
You actually were telling the truth.
I do that quite a lot. Yet people are always surprised.
I know people love it, but it's dog shit.
I'm with you on that, Jags.
film. The Samara is so good in this film. She's so creepy. You don't see her a lot, but when you do, she's so effective. And what I love about this film is the aesthetic of the sort of, it's always raining, the colours are always damp, and it's just to sort of showcase sort of the wetness of the well where Samara's down and her wet hair. Everything's wet, every scene, it's raining outside. It's every little detail is perfect. The mystery, and she is one of the creepiest villains you could get. I'm a big fan of this film, and I'd recommend it for anybody who wants to see something creepy. It came out 2002 and still stands up today. I love it. Big fan.
Yeah, cracking pick, Jenks. Easily one of the greatest remakes of all time. I was really young when that came out and absolutely terrorised me. If you're going to do remakes, that's how you do it. Cracking pick. My first one is going to be from one of my favourite horror franchises of all time. And this is how you really do a remake, especially when you're remaking something so iconic. We're going with Fede Alvarez's 2013 Evil Dead remake. You don't get much better than this. Oh my God, this film is an absolute monster from start to finish. Being a massive fan of theatrics and gore, it just delivers absolutely everything for me. This film is insane, and it's got some of the greatest gore scenes of all time. Like I said, if you're going to remake one of the greatest movies of all time, and in the great hands of Fede Alvarez, who went on to direct some other great horrors as well. You got Don't Breathe, which is another fantastic horror film. I absolutely love this film. I watched it in cinema 3 times when it came out. I just couldn't believe that I was watching another Evil Dead movie growing up, loving the originals.
Groovy.
And I was obviously nervous going to watch it, especially because I loved the comedy elements of the originals, not the first one, obviously. And seeing the train and everything, I thought, it's really serious. I was nervous going into it. Oh my God, absolutely blew me away. And knocked Brain Dead off the number 1 spot for the most blood used in one movie. Obviously, you've got that final scene where it rains blood. Kind of cheating, don't you think, Jenks? You're like, how can we use the most blood? We'll make it rain. It's cheating, really.
Yeah, I think Evil Dead 2013 is massively underrated. I think
absolutely.
Mia, is it Mia or Maya? She is such a good character. The scene, oh my God, the scene where she cuts her tongue. I know. And the scene where that girl's face has been cut off and somebody slips on it. It's so disgusting, but so fucking awesome.
And you can't beat the needle in the eye scene. That's the most horrific scene.
Do you know what's great about that? The idea that she's on drugs. She's a recovering heroin addict, so you've got a really good reason to keep her in that cabin. It's such a simple idea. You don't believe a word she says. She'll do anything to get out of there because she's regressing to her drugs. And she's hallucinating. So, these things would happen. And they're not going to let her leave no matter what. And it's a genius idea. There's no oh, come on, they'd go home. It's like, no, they can't. They've got to see it through. I love
the
it.
Cold turkey.
Awesome.
Cold turkey idea was genius. It's one of the best parts of the film. Fantastic.
Awesome.
What else you got for me, Jags?
Massive fan of Texas Chainsaw. 2003 remake of the 1974 one. I absolutely love this film. At the time when it came out, everybody, it was like one of the first of the wave of remakes. and people were shitting on it even before it came out. How can you remake this? It's a classic. And like I've said before, if you're going to redo something, whether it's a song or a film or a TV show, you either make it better or you make it different. Don't make it the same. And this was certainly, not everyone think it's better, but it was definitely different. It was grittier. Yes, the first one had that sort of snuff movie vibe to it, but this film, you had Jessica Biel, you had an awesome Leatherface, but the greatest element of this that made it stand out was the sheriff. I can't remember his name. He's from Full Metal Jacket.
So you're a killer? Sir, yes, sir! Let me see your war face.
He's so terrifying. Oh my God. You didn't need Leatherface in that film. You could have just had him being this deranged sheriff. And yeah, that stupid thing in the prequel where he wasn't the sheriff, he just killed the original sheriff. That's not as scary. It's much scarier if he actually is the sheriff and he's the only one you answer to in the law. But I'm a big fan of that film. Yeah, it was almost my top pick.
Outstanding pick, Jenks. Yeah, everything you said I agree with. Right, what are we on to, Jenks? We're on to second picks.
Yeah, you got one more pick.
Right, okay. My next pick, again, I've said this so many times in this podcast, one of the greatest remakes of all time. But to be honest, it wasn't hard to beat the original. Not the original is a bad movie, but it's an old Vincent Price film, and he's got a fly head. I'm going for David Cronenberg's The Fly. Again, one of the greatest remakes of all time. Like you said with Texas Chainsaw, if you're going to do a remake, do it different, do it new, do something that hasn't been done. And that's exactly what David Cronenberg done with this. His transition into The Fly is one of the most hideous transformations you'll ever see, when his fingernails start coming off and his skin's decrepit. It's just horrific. If you're thinking of, the way I see it is, if someone pitched me a film, right, where a guy has got teleportation pods and a fly gets in one of them and he's in the other, and they cross DNA and he starts turning into a fly, I'd shut it down instantly. I couldn't think of anything less scary than a man turning into a fly.
No, God!
But obviously, David Cronenberg, being the king of body horror, absolutely pulls it out of the bag. It's just a fantastic film. There's two scenes, right, that I absolutely love, that always come back to me. You've got the arm wrestling scene in the bar, one of the most horrific scenes ever. And then when you're in his bathroom and you can see in the cupboard and you can see his dick in a jar. It's fantastic.
The arm wrestle scene. It's one of those scenes where even no matter how many times you've seen that film, you're looking forward to that bit. It's a bit like Misery with the foot. And it's just, here it comes. You can't fucking wait. It's such a good scene. It's so simple. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. That's got to be almost, like you, Jenk, almost my top spot. But
right, my top spot, again, people are going to be mad. I think it's better than the original, but I'll stand by it. So the original came out in 1978 by the great George A. Romero, Dawn of the Dead, a classic. But I just absolutely fucking love the remake in 2004. Zack Snyder's first film. James Gunn wrote it. I don't know whether it was the first thing he wrote, but those two together, remaking a classic, it's absolutely amazing. Balls to the wall, zombie, carnage. It has one of the greatest opening scenes ever, where the little girl comes into the room and kills the husband or the boyfriend. Sarah Pauli's awesome as the final girl. The set, Vin Rhames is brilliant. Every single character is spot on. The scene with the baby giving birth with a zombie baby. Now, things like that, like you got a picture of a zombie baby behind you, right, from Brain Dead. If you pitch like Dawn of the Dead with a zombie baby, you're going to think Brain Dead. But in reality, it's so disturbing. And he's trying to put the muzzle on her. It's such a fucking good scene. And my favourite scene by far, apart from the first bit, is when they got the two buses and there's just hordes of them and they can't even drive through, even though they've got these big souped up buses, and they've just got to throw the tank of gas and blow them up. And it is absolutely amazing. And I think it is Zack Snyder's best movie. without a doubt. Yeah, definitely.
Cracking pick, Jenks. Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I don't think it's better than the original. I'm a massive fan of the original, but I can't argue with you. It is a fantastic film. Now, my top spot has to go to my all-time favourite, John Carpenter's paranoia masterpiece, The Thing. You don't get much better than this, and it's hard to even call it a remake because anything related to The Thing that was made beforehand just is gone.
Yeah.
Like, this film is just an absolute masterpiece from start to finish. The dread, the setting, Kurt Russell, McCready, just iconic. Everything about this film, John Carpenter's fantastic soundtrack, and The Thing itself. Again, we've spoke about this previously. Just the best special effects you will ever see, way ahead of his time. Specifically, the table scene where what are those things called? And his stomach opens up. Oh my God, it's just such an epic scene. And I've been watching this film at least 20 times a year, right? For as long as I can remember. And I've never once sat there and been bored or gone, I've seen this too many times, getting bored of it. Everything about this film is amazing. And it's hard to believe, right, that this film was such a failure that John Carpenter was sacked from directing future movies with his studio because the film was just a failure with critics and the box office. And it's just crazy to think how blind people were back then.
Ooh, I'm blind.
Surely they could have seen how great this movie is. Obviously glad this got the recognition it deserves now. But by far, the greatest horror movie ever made and the best remake of all time.
Good choice.
That's all we got time for today, guys. Just remember, if you enjoyed the video, leave a comment, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.